So, Grant, the floor is yours.
Everybody, I'm really passionate about the subject of prepping. So one of the things I'm not going to do is I'm not going to waste my time talking to a room full of trigger pullers about safety and protection, because you guys get this, okay? At least I assume if you got questions about guns, tap the person next to you, start asking questions. But I'm 36, I live here out in the suburbs, and I've got a wife and two awesome boys and a pit bull that I love very much, and they are the basis of my motivation. And I'm sure, just like a lot of you, your family is something that you hold on dear. Can we get a show of hands of people who are pulling their families in a little closer these days? Okay? Absolutely, a lot of hands going up, and I love that. Because family is the cornerstone of how you're going to survive in a, we call it SHTF, and that's the peanut butter hitting the fan, but you guys can figure that one out. A lot of what we got to figure out in the room is, what are you prepping for? Okay? There are so many different ideas on what are we going to prep for. We're here in Illinois, but we don't have to worry about wildfires and mudslides. On the West Coast, that's exactly what they have to worry about. You know, California on fire all the time, whether they deserve it or not. Very real thing, and the things that California will prep for will be vastly different than just a couple 100 miles east, where if some moisture, we saw that just happen a month ago, where all that moisture came in and the mudslides happened. You know, it's a different insurance level, it's a different degree of what am I prepping for. Because in scenarios where people have to get out of Dodge because something imminent is happening, like a fire, like a mudslide, like a flood, we really don't, in this area of Illinois, we don't have to worry about that. So one of the things that we can focus on is, what does it look like to prep here? And in my last 6 years of prepping, paying attention, in Illinois, we have to worry about the political system. We have to worry about a city, Chicago, Rockford, Peoria. Those places are so high in crime, and they're so much more densely populated. Is anybody here from Chicago? No? Good, God bless you. I was gonna tell you to get out. So when we talk about effective reasons to prep in Illinois, in our area, one of the considerations has to be the city of Chicago. We saw at the back end of 2020 when every other week some city was on fire. You know, in Chicago, it was rioting and looting. And for those in the densely populated areas like Chicago, you have to think, is my neighbor now a threat? Are the hundreds of people circling these city neighborhoods, is that making its way to me? Am I in a high rise that is inescapable at the moment? Is the danger that high? It can be, absolutely. One of the other things that is very applicable, if we all thought about the population of Chicago and we turned it into a cone, okay, and that cone of population is sitting over Chicago. There are something 7 million people in the Chicagoland area, and they're all held up by the electrical grid. If that electrical grid disappeared, and when I say that, I'm talking about an EMP, which is a very real thing, electromagnetic pulse, that wipes out the electronics that everybody has, that everybody is so reliant on. And this populace, once an EMP happens, or there is a food shortage, or the level of danger reaches escape from New York, when that happens, that population of 7-ish million people flows like lava out into the suburbs, because people don't know what to do when an actual panic happens, when there's not a government check coming so I can stay in my house and feed my family. What happens is those people branch out. And for those in the suburbs of any major city, you have to think about people you don't know looking for resources that they don't have that you do. Or I'm going to teach you the things that, and hopefully inspire in you the resources that you do need. So we're going to keep it simple. We're going to do food, shelter, water, not in any particular order. We can talk about those ad hominem. And then we're going to do a little bonus about people. Okay, with the electrical good portion is just a little taste of what we're talking about. So we're going to start number one with food, and it is literally as simple as finding time and money and resources to set aside per person at minimum 3 months of food, looking at somewhere from 1,800 calories to 2,400 calories per person for a time period of 3 months. And what's great about that 3 months is it's not, I'm gonna use all of my resources, I'm not gonna use all of my food every day for 3 months. It can be supplemental, okay? One of the wisest things I ever heard was, in a long enough time period, the government is gonna swoop in and they're gonna say, hey, we're out of food, you're out of food, we're gonna start what's called a bread line, okay? And we've seen this, everybody's had a little bit of history in this country to see what does a bread line look like. Not in my lifetime, but in the Great Depression, there were plenty of people lined up for a bread line. One of the wisest things you can do if you have all the resources, if you have all the food, don't miss the bread line, okay? And again, this is on a long enough time frame, long enough timeline to where resources have gotten very scarce. So here's the other part to it. In between then, if your food storage runs out, and God forbid it does, we're gonna encounter a different power structure that happens when it comes to food. The government will have a lot of control over it. Trucking and trains. That's how our products move throughout this country, and the government controls a huge swath of that, especially the train industry. When the government says, guess what? That truck shipment, not gonna happen. Slow down, okay? When food becomes scarce, it's gonna get passed out to those that our government will deem deserved and worthy of that, and that's when you're gonna see some real scarcity. We'll talk about that scarcity in a little bit as it relates to other people. One of the ways you can hedge against a food shortage is by starting now. And I mean 10 cans of food, okay? I'm gonna show you guys in a little bit some of that. But 10 cans of food, just to get your mind started. I'm gonna put some away for me, and we're gonna leave that alone. If you give me just a minute, we'll talk about a little bit of that food prep. I brought a couple of my personal things, a couple of my personal favorites, just to start your brain moving in the right direction when resources are scarce, having things that don't go bad. Everybody knows honey is immortal, right? Honey is one of the best things you can have, again, because it doesn't go bad, and it pairs great with, so this is my own personal, I did this last year as a thing that I learned, and this is just a bag of oatmeal, okay? When things get scarce, when energy becomes scarce, things that are higher in calorie are gonna be awesome. Things that require a low amount of energy to produce a meal are going to be phenomenal. You pair these two together. Are there any like avid honey people? Anybody? A moderate honey person? All right, we got some moderate people. So honey and oatmeal, because they have an unbelievably long shelf life. Now this is in a Mylar bag, and it has 2 appropriately sized oxygen absorbers. This was a great project to do with my kids, okay? Bringing the family around because it's really easy to scoop oats into a bag, oxygen absorber, and then you have a 25-year shelf life on this, okay? With the oxygen absorbers, with the immortal honey, 25 years. And it takes next to no energy to make. And when I say that, I mean heating up water, okay? You can get by with, 2 to 4 minutes of heating up water and using oats and have yourself a good higher calorie meal. A couple of the others, so this was, this is the raw product of a Mylar bag. You can still get them on Amazon for the time being. Oxygen absorbers will come with it. Don't pick one that doesn't come with appropriately sized oxygen absorbers. And then seal the oxygen
absorber.
It'll take the moisture and the oxygen out of it so you can get the shelf life. Okay. Things like coconut oil that have a really long shelf life and can be supplemented into your cooking. We use this all the time at my house instead of olive oil, which will run out and has a really low 350-degree burning temperature. Avocado oil, 400 to 425, and starts to burn. Coconut oil, 500 degrees. Okay, so it'll stay long and it will help you cook in a more efficient manner. And you can add it to coffee, thicken it up a little bit. And that's another one of the great for Mylar bags, coffee. Anybody addicted a little bit like me? Yeah, Nicole's got it. Things again, I know it sounds a little cliche. Low amount of energy to cook, high amount of carbs, okay? And again, this is over the timeline of, we're wasting away a little bit, okay? Now, some of us, I can see in the room, could use to skip a meal. Okay, we're gonna talk about fasting in a minute. Things like bone broth, great, add it. We need flavor. Chicken, super good. We don't think about it. 10 of these, put it away, and that's 4 meals. One of the things that is also really important, super long shelf life, is hot sauce. Add a little pep to what you're eating, okay, because you are gonna get sick of just a ramen noodle with some chicken in it. And that's why I say a good bone broth will take your meals to the next level. And then way on the back, I love these. They're kind of like a maple bar. This one I got from 4 Patriots. It's vacuum sealed. There's 2,400 calories in this. And if you are out and you need a little pick-me-up, these are a great thing to have. They're a great thing for a family. They're a great thing for little kids who are picky eaters, like my boys. So I absolutely love these, and we're going to see these in my get-home bag when we bring that out. Well, one of the other food things that is really important. Any fishers in the room? You know how to fish? Anybody gone fishing? Once, twice? All right. A couple times fishing. Great. Do you know how to gut a fish? Do you know what's good to eat, what's not good to eat? Do you know how to pull that sucker apart and put it out on a fire? That's fine, but maybe a thing to learn. We have seen in the last couple months in this country, chickens, okay? All these poultry farms, 4 or 5 of the biggest poultry farms going up in flames, or the bird flu, okay? We all felt that absolutely inflated amount of price tag attached to our eggs. You know, chicken used to be the great equalizer for all people. You know, you need a cheap meal, go get you some chicken. Okay, you need an easy breakfast with a lot of protein in it, get some eggs. It's not like that anymore. So my encouragement is, if you have the means, if you have the space, if your city allows, start thinking about, can I support some chicken? A couple of hens in my home. You know, how can I get myself to the point where I've got 4 and 5 and 8 hens laying eggs for my family, so I don't have to go out. So I can start to trade and barter with food, because I set up an infrastructure of having hens laying eggs, and when they're done laying eggs, you chop that chicken up and you got some delicious chicken. You know, they are creatures that always keep giving. Along the same lines, you can look at some goats or some ducks. Those are a next logical step to move forward in, because those goats will produce milk. We'll move over to the subject of water. And one of the things that people don't think about when we're talking about water, that is controlled by who? your local government. That comes from somewhere, and it's your local government. Unless you are one of the lucky few who have a well. And I got some shaking heads, and that's phenomenal. Having a well will give you better water right off the bat. When we're talking about how do we obtain that water from a well, if you don't have one, in a shutdown scenario, what you're going to have to do is come up with a couple creative ways to do it. Swimming pools. Your hot water heater will have between 40 and 60 gallons of potable water. And then, as I would recommend, you make friends and you have a relationship with the people in your neighborhood who have those wells, because they're going to become really popular. And you know what's a great trade-off? Exchanging that water for some gasoline. Because at my house we have a well, and when that power goes out, the only way to get that water is a generator. All right? You know what that generator needs to use? Gasoline. Okay, so if you are someone who comes to me and says, Grant, I've got a gallon of gasoline. How much water you got for me? I got a hot shower for you. I got some clean water. You would do anything, again, over a long enough timeline to get some water in your system. Okay, the average human can last only 3 days before dehydration takes over. So being able to have a relationship with some people close to you that have access to a well is of great importance. I'm going to show you a product though. These are potable drinking tablets. Okay, and I paid maybe four bucks, and there's half a dozen of these tablets in here, half a dozen, 10 of them, and they will create drinking water in a half an hour. You can take pond water and mix it with these potable tablets and have drinking water. Now there are a couple other ways to do it if you are in a pinch. Having some sand and rocks and activated charcoal or standard charcoal to filter some water are really, I mean, that's pretty far out there. We got to be in quite a spot. But again, those are things to keep track of, things to keep in the back of your mind. Where am I going to get my drinking water when the government says no? And I'm going to get it right here, right now. All right, we're going to move on to shelter. Again, keep those questions about water. How do I get it? Who do I get it from? How do I keep it safe? We're going to talk about shelter because there are a couple major different kinds of needs. You're living in an apartment, you're living in a house, a ranch way out in the country, or you're living in a standard neighborhood. What are the ways that you can protect your home? What are the ways that you can fortify your house against, and again, we're going to talk about people in a little bit, but people are a very real and dangerous thing, and how do I fortify my home? One of the ways to do that is a rain catchment system. I'm sorry, I forgot that. A rain catchment system to a rain barrel, preferably one that has a filter. Being able to catch rainwater is a new system that you would have to set in your home in order to have access to some clean water. So setting up that system in your home, from your gutter, down your downspout, to a rain barrel, put a filter on it, and you've got something to grow food with in a drought, and you've got some 40 to 50 gallons of water that you can access pretty darn quickly. Knowing in your neighborhood where is danger coming from, and again, this has a lot to do with what are you prepping for. In California, how am I going to set my house up so when that fire rolls through, I may have a house on the back end of it. In Illinois, again, from my perspective, it's about protection. And how am I going to protect? Where is the threat going to come from? Thinking along the lines of when they're on this timeline, long enough timeline, when are people going to get desperate enough when that power grid goes down and people start to look for resources, where are they coming from? How many are there going to be? What am I going to do? Having lights on the outside of your house, very, very effective. Being able to shut off all the lights in your house and turn on all your exterior lights, you know what that does? It gives you absolute camouflage on the inside of your home. They can't see inside, but you can see out. That is a super advantage when you are trying to protect your home against somebody who has not been invited. Things like signs out in the front of your yard to deter people from stepping in. You know, it sounds a little crude, but we all get it as trigger pullers. You know, you loot, we shoot. Okay? We live in Illinois. How well do you think that message goes over the court of law? It doesn't. Holy cow. You know, is it true? Will it turn some people away? Yeah. One of the best signs I've ever seen is they took everything. Meet at your sister's house. All right? Will that encourage some people to say it's not worth my time going into that house? It just may. It just may save your life. Disguising yourself with some of the yard decorations of those people coming to take your resources. Things like we voted this way. You know, we support this. Ways to turn the mob away from your home. Ways to gain some time to escape out the back. Having wood planks where you have weak spots in your home. Cameras. Oh my gosh, what does a camera do to a bad guy? Bad guys want a victim. They want what you have. But when they are on camera, that is a fantastic deterrent. That kind of wraps up shelter. I want to hear and start to think about some of those shelter questions. We're going to move on to people briefly, and then I'm going to take you through a couple of my preps that I brought with. People are predictable. I've been saying it a couple of times. When people get short on resources, the predictability comes in, we don't have any words anymore. Okay? There's a very small passive-aggressive gray spot in between words, passive-aggressiveness, and violence. Okay? And when resources are gone and somebody identifies you have, I don't have, sound familiar in our current climate? When you have and I don't have, I'm going to do what it takes to get what you have for me, for mine. Okay? And that's where a lot of the great culture that we have cultivated in the firearms industry and the firearms culture comes into play. Because you do have to be able to protect your things. Because the call of my heart is that I have 2 young sons. And when you have little children, they don't understand why I didn't get a meal. They don't understand why I'm so thirsty right now. Dad, Mom, I don't get it. And when those calls come out from people who are unprepared, moms and dads will do desperate things. Can we all agree? I'm a dad. My wife's a mom to my 2 boys. I'll tell you what, if I got desperate, my attitude would change. And that's what I want to continue to impart upon you all today. Have your motivation based in when times get desperate. Will I have food? Will I have water? Will I be able to protect my castle? Start thinking in terms of what I can do so that those little ones don't come with their hands out and you got nothing for them and you got to act desperately. You got to go shotgun grocery shopping. I don't want to think about that, and I don't want the people in our culture to have to think about what am I going to do when I get desperate. When that mob rolls in because they have lost it all, what am I going to be able to do for my family? So we have a couple of different types of people that will show up. The government is one of them. We don't need to go into length about that. We know what the government of Illinois is going to do, and we know that our government, our national government, does not always, if not ever, have our best interest in mind. Because the American people didn't recently get a $50 billion, $100 billion check, did we? We know they do not have our best interest at heart. We know they will control the food source that they can. And this is everything coming out of my heart right now is so that we don't have to be reliant on those people anymore. We are the people that can affect our neighborhoods, that can affect our families, to protect, to have food, to have water, to have a shelter that is galvanized against the mob. Because when that mob gets going, they're not going to stop. And we've seen that. The latter end of 2020 exposed that. All of 2021 exposed that the mob gets its way. And there are good people sitting here. There are good people in your circles, at your churches and synagogues that you love, that are the family you choose. And all of these things are effective to protect you, to protect them, to give you peace of mind in your heart and your soul that you can provide when it is difficult. So one of the wise things I want to leave you with about people is I want you to think of 20 people that you trust, whether it be a single person or a couple, if you can make out 20. I want you to take those 20 people and I want you to pick 6 of them. Okay? Because I want you to be that 7th person, that 7th family that you can trust. Because when it comes to times of desperation, when it comes time that you need to prep, your preps are done, and you need to use those preps, there are going to be a lot of people coming to your door because you have invested in them, and they know you got guns, and they know you've done a little bit of preparing, and they're going to come to your door, and you need to know who to trust beforehand. You need to know who is solid in your life beforehand, because those 20 people you trust, 14 of them don't offer you anything in survival. And I'll guarantee, I'll take it to the bank every time. And then you're going to have more that show up. And they offer you even less when it comes to survival. Know who you are going to trust ahead of time. The people you can actually count on. The buddy from high school, he's got nothing for you. Okay? So it's very important to pull those people in and affect change in those people so that they can bring things to the table. All right, so I want you to think again of questions about people because we're going to see lots of different personalities come out. The last 2 I want to leave you with as far as people are the warlords. And I know that sounds like a goofy term, but there are going to be quite a few people who rise up and declare themselves a warlord. And that's when we're going to see an organized mob come to your house. Gang culture will spread fast because they get results and they trust each other. Does that help paint that picture about who you can bring into your life a little bit? Those gangs know how to get it done. The other is what we're going to call a werewolf. We call them werewolf preppers in our community. And what they do is they don't prep, they watch you for prepping. And they're going to figure out, I can go to Grant's house. I saw him bringing in way more food than he needed to. The Amazon UPS FedEx driver who sees that you just ordered a box from 4 Patriots or My Patriot Supply. Don't think he didn't notice that. Okay? There are people coming and they have not prepared. It's like the story of the cricket. What's the cricket? Lazy cricket. That's right. What was the first one? Ant. The ant and the grasshopper. How diligent the ant was, and how lazy the grasshopper was. Okay. Those who start early finish the race well. So we're going to move on to what I call a get home bag, and this is one of my favorite parts to talk about. So some of these great things. Trauma bag is different than your boo-boo kit, okay? And I know a lot of us as gun people, we get it. Having a trauma bag that has the necessary tools inside of it, and we can all check these out after. Tourniquets, blood clots, bandages, thermal blankets, sanitary things. Okay, sanitation is a big deal. Now this is specific to very deadly injuries, okay? Huge gashes, femoral artery detachments, gunshot wounds. This, I mean, even this is kind of small, but it's a step in the right direction because we have hemostatic gauze in here, and you won't find that in a lot, but it's in the gauze that you are packing a wound with has the coagulant in it. And we can all talk about this a little bit later. This should be something that you have when you go to the range, in terms of how we all culturally resonate with one another. So this is a get home back. Okay, we can talk bug out another time. I'm a very big believer in bugging in. Bugging in, you tighten up your home. Bugging out, we are out in the woods and we are surviving. Guess what? If it comes to a time when we have to bug out, everybody's gonna die, okay? It is the truth. I will encourage you guys to watch the shows Alone and Outlast. They are on Netflix. They're phenomenal to show you what real survival looks like when the elements attack you 100% of the time. When you need to figure out shelter in the most rudimentary way, when you have to boil water from a dirty river to survive, and you got those little hands and those little hearts who don't understand, guess what? We're all gonna die, okay? If you have not fasted, chosen to leave a meal out, if you have not fasted for maybe a week in your life, give it a try. You're gonna find out real quick what the term hangry, hungry and angry, you're gonna find out real quick what your tolerance level and your attitude will allow when you are super hungry, okay? So I absolutely encourage, try some fasting. Take some time, learn what it means to skip a meal or two, okay? And I say that from personal experience. I spent about a month doing one meal a day. It is difficult, and you will get short-tempered, and you will start to be have to have a hunger like you have never experienced. But it's a good way to train yourself to know, what am I capable of? I love camping. I love going out to throw a rod in the river. I love going out to feel out what it's going to be like to spend a week and a half, actually getting dirty and camping for real. So that's why, we in America, we are so blessed to have the lifestyle that we do, which is why I say, if your plan is to bug out real quick, guess what? You're gonna die. So this is my get home bag in terms of emergency. I'm gonna pull a lot of stuff out. I'm gonna go as quick as I can. We're gonna start out in front though. Small things like this. This is pepper spray. I love pepper spray. I carry a pepper spray on me 100% of the time, because when those dangerous people come at you, you're going to ruin their week with a little bit of hot sauce that they earned. Covering multiple targets from a distance. Love it. Absolutely love it. Something like a zip tie. A pile of zip ties can be your best friend in an emergency. Multi-tools. Goodness gracious, even a small multi-tool like this has some utility for what you need while you're out in the world. Okay? Ways to start a fire. Ways to start a fire when it's raining. Okay? These are road flares, and they burn magnesium super hot, and they will start a fire in the rain as long as you've got some dry kindling and enough fuel to get you there. So having something that has multiple utility, like this, if you are in an emergency scenario. Does it snow in Chicagoland? Heck yes, it does. Have we seen people get trapped on 290 on the Kennedy before, and they got nothing? This is where this comes in really handy when you need emergency local law enforcement or ambulances. If you need some of that, this is going to be an absolute lifesaver. Glow sticks, extra flashlight. This I'm gonna put on the dog, okay? You throw that around the dog and you can travel at night and know exactly where your pet is. An extra flashlight. And again, folks, these things seem easy and to put together, but until you actually do it, you don't know really what you need. I'm going to pick out two things that are really important. Communications, a simple radio charged, ready to go. This is water additives, okay? These are super important because if you are out on your own, this is a 4-day bag. If you are out on your own and you need something to replenish some of your electrolytes or your magnesium or your salt levels, these are very important. A little snack bar for my kid. Again, like I mentioned earlier, these 2,400 calorie things are great. If you are trapped in a vehicle because you got snowed in, you're going to be really, really thankful that you've got enough food to get you through 1 night, 2 nights, okay? This is that boo-boo bag, okay? We've all seen this everywhere. This is for your small stuff. These are tea lights, tea candles, okay? With just a Bic lighter. You can heat your entire vehicle, depending on the size of your vehicle. You can heat your entire vehicle, snowed in, and be comfortable because that snow is going to insulate your vehicle, okay? And you can sit and have a little bit of light, crack a window for some oxygen, and you can survive through the night lighting tea candles all the way through the night. I love, love, love that. Another water source, stick it in some dirty water, have a couple sips, it's gonna save your life. Work gloves, simple work gloves. You gotta change a tire and you're in a bad spot and you don't wanna cut your hand doing something silly. Rain poncho. Here we go. This is a three-day actual food kit. This one's from 4 Patriots, great American brand, and will give you the calories you need to make it home from a difficult spot. A little bit of rope, okay? This is paracord. It's not super difficult stuff to find. You can go to Home Depot. This cost me $3. All right, you guys ready for the city the key to the city? So in 2 ways, I picked up a new skill. Okay, this is my lock picking set, and this very well could be the exact skill you need to get you out of the elements, out of a dangerous spot. And a lot of these things are very low skill based. But as you begin to prep, things like this got on my radar. I got locked out of a place I was working at and nobody was coming. And I thought to myself, it would have been really handy if I could have just picked a lock and got in there. So this is, and again, this is a very skill-based thing to utilize, but I'm excited to continue learning about it. And then the key to the city is what this is called. And this is a simple mini crowbar. It's a little pry bar, and guess how many doors you can open with a simple pry bar? Okay? A lot. And is that the last? A simple trash bag for sanitation. Baby wipes. I actually don't have them in here. They're in my car, but baby wipes for sanitation. These are all the things that I carry in my vehicle every single day on top of my regular everyday bag that has my firearms and multiple magazines. We all understand that. A fixed blade knife. One of the last things I want to go back to that I didn't touch on, and I should have, in your home to fortify your home, in the event that you don't have electricity for a while, and your phone's not charging and the TV's not going. I think it was maybe 2 years ago, and we had in my house or in my folks' house, we had 5 days that went by and there was no electricity. And people were gobbling up generators. And I asked my mom, and I said, "You're okay?" And she said, "No, I'm not." Okay? The mental toll that not having electricity takes on you doesn't take long because we're Americans. So one of the things that is important is to have physical books. Instead of jumping on your phone to figure out the universe, having a physical book could mean the difference between life and death, okay? Being able to reference a survival guide with way more information than we will ever need. What was that page? Do I need to know how to punch a shark in the face in Illinois? No, but I would like to. I might read that. I might read that in my time of desperation, but this will teach you how to be self-sufficient away from our technology, and that's super, super important. The other here, simple prepping things, okay? Like that water catchment system, like a solar panel that you can assemble yourself with confidence that it's going to work. Growing indoors, the hydroponics aspect of it, creative ways to start a fire, and these are all just on the front. Ways to feed your chickens. God bless if people get some chickens. But these are going to be super, super valuable when there is no electricity to tell us what to do and how to do it. And then comes a really important part.
Bible.
This is the Bible. In my family, when the electricity goes out, you're going to need something to fall back on, whether it be a fiction or nonfiction collection of books. Okay, you're going to need something to keep your mind occupied. And going through a great book and a good book and a simple book that will tell you how to survive. All three of these books will tell you how to survive. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And then, in terms of keeping your mind sharp, don't forget to have a little fun. Get something, this is a simple game and it's a ton of fun. Have playing cards. Have really complex games. Again, I talk about a long time frame. Have really complex games that you can have fun with, because it will keep your mind sharp. Reading these books and playing games and drawing your family in and going back to the old ways will keep your mind sharp and it will keep you alive. All right, so I do want to open it up for a couple of questions. Hopefully somebody's got something. Just go ahead and toss up your hand.
So they make those solar generators, but obviously we live around here. What's your thoughts on that?
It is a way to be self-sufficient. Do it. Learn it, because it's going to hone some skills on electrical knowledge. And again,
will it work? I mean, in that situation, because of our light situation.
Again, we have to have have the resources to set up that infrastructure. And yes, it does work. Having battery banks, and I mean, to make solar worth it, you got to have 20 batteries ready to go. But yes, solar does work, and as much as you can keep it a system all your own, like you would learn in a book.
Solar generator. I mean, a specific generator that's solar.
Stick with fuel. Stick with fuel. It's gonna give you more power to your home. Like I said, we have a generator, and there is a switch in the house that turns the essentials on. You will never get the kind of power output to run a deep freezer from a solar generator or your HVAC system. Maybe you can keep some refrigerators alive a little bit longer, charge some small devices, but fuel will always be the best option. Like I said, you start trading with other people, and you're going to find out how valuable a fuel generator becomes.
How would you keep the sounds of the generator low?
See that, box it in, put some foam in it, but you have to have somewhere for that exhaust to go, or you're going to start choking out the system. So when you are running a generator, for instance, ours is outdoors, and you can pad the inside of a three-walled box, and it will muffle some, but that is the risk that you run. When we're talking about gangs of people come in to listen and observe, they will know who has electricity and who doesn't based on that. So using generators intermittently, setting up a schedule where you turn it on and off so that you are not running a generator all the way through the night. And then again, this is when the peanut butter hits the fan and things are dangerous. Run it intermittently. Have a way to secure that generator. The noise really is, for something that's going to run a house, is unavoidable. They do make some pretty darn whisper quiet, smaller size generators that will do the job, but not quite on the scale of running your home.
What about flamethrowers as far as the defense?
Oh, what a great deterrent! Flamethrowers are a phenomenal deterrent. You know what nobody wants to do? Nobody wants to live out the rest of their life looking like a marshmallow. All right? I call them my mob dispersal units. Now, obviously, we don't use those in the house, okay? Just for clarity's sake, those are ones that we address outside. You want to know what? It's not a projectile, okay? It is just there for severe intimidation. Those flamethrowers. So I'm in an absolute affirmation for a flamethrower.
Where do you buy flamethrowers?
I've actually
Fox Valley Range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a couple online.
Right. Right.
Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah. So did anybody have any other questions about food?
I was just wondering if you whipped up the trauma kit yourself or you bought it in advance.
This particular trauma kit was gifted to me. This was purchased all set together, nice and tight in a package. You can do it
Sure.
as you.
That looked like it was pretty well thought out.
Right, and I didn't think it out. But I did add things to it. That hemostatic one,
Sure,
as you buy a pre-made kit. Buy a pre-made kit, the Oops kit. It is a pain in the butt to put all the effort into thinking, what am I going to need? But it's really easy to add these things on to what you're doing. So I love that a lot. Go ahead.
What do you think about putting like insignia out there suggesting that you're a former former Green Beret, former Special Forces or something along those lines? To give people the idea that you know how to defend yourself.
Yeah, putting some symbols out into the world, whether it be the way you dress or how you choose to kind of decorate your household. Anything that you are confident behind, saying this is not a soft target. Okay, coming to my house is not going to be an easy take for you. Does that
splatter silhouette target?
And I just saw this week on the side of someone's garbage can was a splatter target. One of the ones with adhesive on it, and I went, that's genius. It sends a very subtle message to somebody who is paying attention that I'm not going to. It's going to be a tough fight here. So I would agree with both sides of it. Ways to disguise yourself and ways to let the world know this is not going to be. You are not going to victimize my home, my family.
Food-wise, I understand that like wheat buds. Wheat is supposedly, it's like once the chaff is gone, it's supposed to last like forever.
Yeah, same thing. Any type of dry food that you are going to that you're gonna utilize, get yourself some Mylar bags, because whether it be rice or beans or wheat or some kind of flour, put it in something where the sun is not going to damage it. Any type of sun or moisture.
I saw like the buckets, stick it in, like,
yeah.
Put it in like a big bag, put it in the freezer for like a week,
That's it.
kill any potential weevils or anything like that, then stick
Right.
it in the buckets and see.
Doing it in Mylar bag, taking all the steps you can, because critters are a problem too. So that's why these plastic buckets, head over to Sherwin-Williams
Menards.
or Menards. You can get them for cheap, or you can get them for free sometimes.
Where?
I get them at Sherwin-Williams,
Okay.
albeit I'm a contractor, but I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in these. In terms of food, again, candy. Have a little something for when you need a morale boost. Am I only eating chicken 5 days a week?
Grant, you need a Snickers.
That Snickers will change your attitude really, really quickly, and it'll keep those little ones thinking I can earn because things are scarce, But having candy in a bag just like this is a really, really good idea. Because we all need a boost. We all need to remember what normal tastes like every once in a while. That's why I put candy on the list, and again that hot sauce.
On the oats that you had 25 years in the bag, right?
That's right.
But then the cans, there's a date on the cans when you buy them from the store. How long after that?
Yeah, most of that is a hard suggestion line. Expiration dates on cans. They gotta put it. It's like a guarantee. If you go past the guarantee, the warranty's gone, right? Or if you go past the warranty, it's on you.
So long as it's not blistering.
All right, if you don't have dents in it, that can is going to hold out a lot longer than you think, and I mean by years. You can take that expiration date on average about any given can, and add yourself 3 to 5 years to be safe. So don't take the expiration date on canned food as gospel.
Is vacuum sealing adequate, or do you still need the oxygen absorbers?
That depends largely on what you're going to vacuum seal. Do the oxygen absorber anyway, just because these things they're important to what we're building up. We're building up this stockpile of food, and you want to take care of it as best you can. Toss an oxygen absorber and vacuum seal it, and you are going to have that product forever. Something I didn't touch on, the canning. Canning will extend the life of that food also almost indefinitely. You can put a whole meal in a can. There are nuances to canning that could ruin a product, and there's a little bit of a learning curve, but you can do it and have yourself a really nice meal when you need it.
I have a stupid question, and I showed up late. What about water?
Bro, we did a whole thing on water.
Okay.
Remember that part about bugging out and you're gonna die?
Sorry.
Punctuality is important.
What about sunlight? Sunlight.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about that?
We talked a little bit about solar.
No, meaning sunlight having an effect on food, on storage food, or on water.
Yes, sunlight is absolutely an enemy of your food stores. That's why putting it in a basement, keeping it cool and dry. Water, same thing. Leave your water out in the sun too long, and the pH levels are going to start to change. So we don't want, unless you're brewing tea, we don't want to leave our water sources out to bake in the sun. Stagnant water is usually what comes to mind.
I just wanted to say, you could freeze-dried fruit and a lot of other things, and it'll stay good for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fun. And again, that's freeze-drying fruit is a skill that you can work on, and it also becomes a great barter later. I heard somebody say, we can talk about bartering alongside the food. The rule of thumb for bartering: you figure out the value of it. Just don't barter with anything that can be used to kill you. All right? Don't barter with bullets. Don't barter with firearms. Those are yours and for your 6 other people. Don't barter with things that can be used to harm or steal from you.
Stock up on cigarettes and vodka.
Cheap liquor.
Yeah. Those are also super effective. Alcohol, cigarettes, tobacco. Very, very effective barter things. Very effective also to sideline. Alcohol is like the sideline to candy for grown-ups.
So you're telling me my Chinese money won't work?
Oh, it sure will. Your Chinese money's gonna be good. Other questions?
Thank you, Grant.
Other questions? Thank you all.